everyone, it's Michelle and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. I hope everyone had a lovely weekend. Mine was really nice and relaxing. I took a good computer and social media detox for 3 days and it was glorious. It's amazing how getting away from your phone, the computer technology, it really is so refreshing. If you're like me, you're always on your phone, you're always on your computer for work. So it was a really nice kind of mini break for me to get some clearing, get away from the royals, just get away from everything for 3 days. Now, I did listen to 2 audiobooks this past week that I wanted to share with you that I thought you might enjoy. Now, both of them were by the same author. Her name is Stacy Willingham. The first one is called A Flicker in the Dark. So it's about a psychologist who's planning her wedding, and all of a sudden these girls in her hometown start missing. They show up murdered, much in the same way that happened 25 years earlier when her father was convicted of murdering 6 teenage girls, and it basically brings her all back into the past where there's a possible copycat killer of her father's past crimes. That was a phenomenal story. I really enjoyed that one. Now, the other one is called All the Dangerous Things. It's about a girl whose son is kidnapped. He's been missing for over a year. There aren't any leads, and so she starts appearing on all these true crime shows and podcasts trying to help people keep her son's case in the news. And while she's there, her marriage falls apart. Strange things start happening. She has a pattern of sleepwalking due to a very traumatic childhood where she blames herself for something that happened. And then all of a sudden, things start to click into place, and she starts working on the mystery of what happened to her son, where he went, how he disappeared. So this is a very good psychological thriller. It's a book that has a lot of details, and I like those types of books. So if you're interested, you're looking for a quick read or a quick listen, I will have them linked in my Amazon storefront, but also for you below, so you can just go ahead and check them out. Now, another thing, I actually promised you guys a cute Romeo video in my last video, and I forgot to put it in there. And a funny thing is, a lady in the comments was like, oh, and that was an adorable video on Romeo. And I'm like, I didn't put the video in there, but thank you. But I will go ahead and put it in now. So for Christmas, Romeo gets this big plushy bed. But what does he sit in? A box. Romeo, why don't you go in your bed? Silly cat. Yeah, doesn't like the cat bed, but he likes the box. Romeo, what are you doing, you silly cat? Anyone else have a cat like that? Romeo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Silly cat. Silly cat. He's going to go on the bed. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that cute little Romeo video. He is such a little character, but we have a lot of juicy royalty to get through today, so you know what to do. Sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. So William and Catherine attended the 2023 Bafta Awards on Sunday, and I thought both of them looked absolutely stunning. They appeared to be in really good spirits. They were both very jovial, very playful. You can tell they were having a very good time. They were very happy to be there. There was even a little moment of some PDA where Kate gave him a little nudge on the backside, a little pat, a little love pat, if you will. Now, a lot of people were saying on TikTok, especially the haters, the Sussex squad, they were like, oh, William, she tried to hold his hand and he snubbed her and he pushed it away. He did not push her hand away. He put his hand up to wave, and then she just kind of gave him a little pat. You can tell they were very, very happy to be there. It was a jovial moment. And I have to say, in my opinion, Catherine looked like an old-fashioned Hollywood movie star. She was giving me that old-fashioned Hollywood glamour that we just don't really see that much anymore. I loved the dramatic effect of the gloves and the earrings. She looked like she glided, like she literally was just floating on a cloud into the Bafta Awards. And I have to be honest with you, I was a little like, oh, okay. because we don't expect to see a bold fashion statement from Catherine. She could have just wore the white gown and the gold earrings, but I love the fact that they really wanted to jazz up the look. She wore the same dress to another event in 2019, and now she's wearing it in 2023. Now, I like the fact that she took a fashion choice, because for these award shows, if you look, people were a little bold in some of their fashion choices. So she kind of decided to take a page out of, Audrey Hepburn, Amal Clooney, and she wore the gloves with the dress. Now, a lot of people are saying it was too stark. The gloves were too long. The earrings didn't go together. It's not a look that I probably would have put together. However, I believe it's very fashion forward and it's on a new trend. Statement earrings apparently are making a comeback in the fashion world, and she's on trend. And again, I like the fact that she took a choice. Now she's re-wearing an Alexander McQueen dress. They changed up the shoulder. I like this version of the shoulder much better than the original. The original kind of reminded me of a bridesmaid dress or like a prom dress, and it was very plain. Last time she wore it, she didn't have any gloves. I think she had her hair up. It was pretty, but it looked like a wedding dress or a bridesmaid dress. To me, she looked very glamorous. I liked the contrast of the black and the white, but I actually like the look. It's grown on me since I've been looking at it. And let's be honest, Catherine makes everything look gorgeous. Now, let's not forget, William was wearing a velvet double-breasted suit. I thought he looked absolutely handsome. The two of them together were stunning. It was nice to see them out and about, looking like they were having a fun date night. And I just thought they looked really well together, and he looked handsome. I think it was a black velvet suit, so he's even taking a little bit of a fashion risk. So there's a new story that came out that Prince Andrew might have to vacate his current premises, which is the Royal Lodge. Now, if you're not aware, Andrew has been living at the Royal Lodge since around 2003. He lives there currently with his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. Now, he signed a 75-year lease with a one-time, one-off payment of $1 million, but the terms of the lease required him to pay for the recommended recommendations. Well, now they have a very hefty recommendation fee of around $7.5 million. Now, he used to be a working royal, but was released of his duties and his pay back in 2019. But Her Majesty the Queen was paying him out of her private funds from the privy purse, giving him around $250,000 a year. On top of that, Andrew also receives his military pension. But now that he is no longer a working royal, and we know that his brother, King Charles, is definitely cutting back on the spending for the royal family, he has informed Andrew, look, we're no longer going to give you the $250,000 that mom was paying you. You're going to have to pay for your own stuff. You're 63 years old. So I'm sure that money was to pay for his staff, the maids, the cook, the gardeners, etc. It's a very big house. I'm sure they have a full-time staff there working for him and Fergie. But people forget that Andrew inherited millions upon millions of dollars. So we all know that Charles wanted to streamline the monarchy, which means he no longer wants to give his brother $250,000 a year for doing nothing. He's 63 years old. He has millions of dollars. People forget he has a huge inheritance from the Queen Mother, his father, and his mother. And let's not forget, I'm sure when he was born, they also set up a trust fund. So this man has millions upon millions of dollars and a military pension on top of that. He's not poor, right? Not to mention, Fergie is a best-selling author. She just wrote a book that did very well. She has another book that's coming out in March. So the two of them could afford to pay the $7 million and to upkeep their own staff. But one thing about very rich people is they don't like to use their own money. They never do. That's how they stay rich. So there's rumors they might have to vacate the property when his funds are slashed in April. Now the rumor is that Charles has agreed to pay for his private security, which is around $3 million a year. Remember, he was cut off from Scotland Yard when he stepped down in 2019 as a working royal. But King Charles is expected to continue to pay for his brother's security out of the Privy Purse funds. Now, let's not forget, he's still going to receive his military pension, and he's still going to receive money. So maybe instead of $250,000, he's getting $150,000. But I like the fact that Charles is saying you need to start paying for your own stuff. There's a rumor they could possibly move to Fergie's new place. She bought a $5 million condo last year. And let's not forget, guys, Frogmore Cottage is sitting empty. Eugenie and her husband Jack Brooksbank vacated Frogmore Cottage a couple of months ago as they are splitting their time between Portugal and the UK. It is rumored they moved back to their old residence and not Knockcott, as was previously discussed. So who knows, maybe Fergie and Andrew will live in Frogmore Cottage. Maybe they'll move to Knockcott. Who knows, but I know there's another royal residence that these two could probably live in for very, very cheap. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to the Royal Lodge if they vacate the premises, but I've heard rumors that Charles might want to sell some of the properties, or maybe he'll rent them out for officials. Who knows? But it looks like Fergie and Andrew might be moving in the spring. Well, apparently there's a lot of screaming and flying plates right now over in Montecito for a certain ex-royal couple. It is rumored that Meghan Markle is extremely upset in how she was depicted on the latest episode of South Park called the Worldwide Privacy Tour. Now, if you're not aware, South Park is like The Simpsons on acid. They really are an adult-themed cartoon that sometimes their humor is a little bad. They go after anywhere from Donald Trump to Jesus. I mean, literally nobody is safe. They've even made fun of Catherine and William in the past. But most recently, they did an episode on Harry and Meghan. Of course, they don't use their names, but we all know it's them. And they were brilliant in the way that they were able to kind of make fun at them. But Harry and Meghan have nobody to blame but themselves, because literally the makers of South Park showed Harry and Meghan what the world thinks of them right now, that they're a bunch of privileged crybabies who want privacy and then go on a privacy tour saying, don't look at us, and then they put off fireworks trying to get attention. That's basically what they are. They even made fun of Harry's book when they called it wah, wah, like baby wah, which is hilarious. There's even a trending hashtag now called wah. Again, Harry and Meghan, apparently you need a mirror and people need to show you what you are reflecting to the world, because you live in your little bubble with yes people telling you that you poop rainbows, but you don't. You stink. You stink. And people need to show you what is happening to your reputation. In America, you lost it. You know, I told you we like the little guy, but you're not the little guy. You're the whiners. You're the privileged whiners. You're like the Jan Brady of the royal family. Marsha. William. It's like, I have news flash for you, Harry. You're not unique. You're not special, son. You're born into a hierarchy. The rest of us are also born into a hierarchy. I was the youngest child. You know, my sister, when she was 16, she got a car for Christmas because she was the oldest. Do you think me, the third child, got a car for Christmas? No, I didn't. When I was 21, I inherited a car that was so beat up that after you started the car, you could run the car without the keys in the ignition. It had 300,000 miles on it, and I was 21 and grateful to get that piece of junk. We don't all have a silver spoon in our mouth, Harry. Okay? We're all born into a hierarchy. You're not unique. So you're literally writing a book being the second son, the middle child syndrome, whatever the hell you want to call it. But you're not unique. You're just rich and privileged. So people do see you as a baby and as a whiner and someone who doesn't appreciate the blessings that you got. And you and your wife have done absolutely nothing to create a positive reputation for yourself. For the past 3 years, instead of it being the Worldwide Privacy Tour, it should have been the Worldwide Victimhood Tour, because that, in my opinion, is a better description. So I'm so happy that South Park gave you a huge mirror and said, this is what you're projecting to the world. So now they're saying that their legal team is looking at South Park. They're looking over. Well, look all you want. You can't sue people for making fun of public figures. They didn't even name you, for one. And two, they didn't say anything wrong. They didn't make up anything. They literally showed you what you're projecting and what the public opinion is of you. If they can make fun of Donald Trump and Kate and William, honey, they're going to make fun of you. Get over it. It's called get a sense of humor. And we all know Meghan has no sense of humor, where she was offended when Mariah Carey called her diva. I'm a diva? What? You mean I'm not Snow White and Ariel? Oh my God, how dare you call me a diva? Yes, honey, you're a diva. And also, let's not forget, when Harry introduced Meghan to his friends, I think there was, a group of 10 people. They went on that hunting weekend, and how she reprimanded all of his friends for making jokes that she found offensive. And when they all walked away, they were like, wow, what the hell? Who's that chick? Woo! None of them were impressed, and none of them thought she was a fun, nice girl, and she had zero sense of humor. Meghan likes to make fun of the Queen and do her little fake little curtsy, but she doesn't like to be the butt of the joke. She has no sense of humor. So now the legal team that they have on speed dial, the sue happy Sussexes, well, good luck with that, sweetheart. You can't sue everybody who has an opinion of what you're actually putting out, because that is 100% what you projected. The privacy tour and the victimhood tour is 100% what everyone thinks about you, because that is what you put out for 3 years. And you literally doubled it down with the Netflix series, with the Cut interview, and with Harry's book. You just brought it home that you guys are a bunch of royal knobs. Period. So now, according to Neil Sean, he's saying that the makers of South Park are realizing what a gold mine Harry and Meghan are, because it had huge, huge ratings. So could this turn into a series? Yes, could this turn into an actual series on South Park? I, for one, would love it. I would. I think they're so creative. They're funny. I say go for it, but just be prepared, because Harry and Meghan have no sense of humor, and they have their lawyers on speed dial. But I, for one, would watch that series. Well, it seems like Harry and Meghan have gotten themselves into a little bit of a predicament, a little bit of a Sophie's choice, if you will, kind of back themselves into a corner. Again, this is what happens when you build your brand on lies, inconsistencies, negativity, and victimhood. And that is exactly how Harry and Meghan have made their bread and butter over the past 3 years. They built their brand on victimhood, on negativity, on bashing his family for money. They did not build their brand on actual products or talent or skill. They literally sold out their family to the highest bidder, and now, almost 3 years later, they're paying the price with their reputation in the toilet, where people do not like them. Their popularity has plummeted, and they're now a laughingstock of late night TV and, most recently, South Park. And the only people they have to blame for that is themselves. Literally look in the mirror, because you two are responsible for your brand that isn't really a brand, because you didn't build a product. All you did was sell out your family and play the racism card, and you cashed in. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You got the Spotify deal, you got the book, you got the Netflix series. But at the end of the day, that's all you got. It's a one-trick pony. And once you've gone to the finish line, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. And people now don't care. That's the problem, is people don't care anymore. People don't believe you anymore, because now Harry and Meghan are facing this weird Sophie's choice of, do we attend or do we not attend King Charles's coronation? Because remember, you called them racist and that they didn't support your wife because she's such a victim. And then you said they have to publicly apologize to my wife for mistreating her and not helping her when the press was writing negative things about her, because they don't do it for anybody, but they have to do it for Meghan because she's biracial. The travesty. And now you're saying you want a private meeting with your brother and King Charles, and you've just been told that no, you're not going to get a private meeting, and I don't believe they're going to get a public apology, because people can't apologize when they didn't do anything wrong. This was a private family matter that should have stayed behind palace doors. But you and your wife wanted to make some quick money, and you sold out your family and you dragged them through the mud, and now your reputation is tattered, and now you don't know what to do because you don't have a brand. So now you're trying to be positive and sweet and rebrand yourself and focus on charity work of the Archwell Foundation. The problem is that's 3 years too late, because all your negativity is going to outweigh anything you do positive. It's too late, in my opinion. So Meghan now, she's turned into the Greta Garbo. Leave me alone. I don't want to be seen. She's trying to save face. This is what she does. She stirs the pot, she causes problems, and then she disappears and leaves Harry to face the music, because she's Meghan Clean Hands Markle. Well, it wasn't me. It was his book. It was his truth. It was his story. It was his experience. I have nothing to do with any of that. I'm Ariel. I'm just over here floating around, feeding the chickens. I have nothing to do with that. So here's Meghan now in the background, knowing that she's really a villain in the UK, and she's pretty much becoming a villain in the United States. Really unpopular on both sides. I mean, way to go, Meghan. That was a great feat. But even Harry now has to face the fact that they could be booed. So if they go to the coronation, 1, they're going to be booed. 2, he's probably not going to get the public apology that he was wanting. 3, he kind of put a little bit of a target on his back when he made some claims in his book about, certain people being chess pieces. Oh yeah, didn't help yourself, son. And let's not forget, he still has a lawsuit with the Home Office, suing them for security, which I believe I read an article that this is costing the taxpayers upward of $300,000. So you're not making yourself any fans here with your most recent behavior. And now Harry and Meghan have been backtracking on the claims that they made about the royal family being racist, now saying, well, that was the UK press, his arch nemesis, his get out of jail card. It wasn't me, it was the British press. I didn't say they were racist. I mean, if you thought that we said it, well, you were wrong. Even though we really implied it and never corrected you for 3 years, you were wrong. So now if him and Meghan go to the coronation, he looks like a hypocrite. And the royal family is like, look, y'all can come. Here's the invitation. You get your own self over here. We'll save you a seat behind the candlestick in the tier 2 nosebleed section, but we're not going to give you any extra attention or time of day. Deal with it or don't come. We don't care. So now Harry and Meghan have to decide, well, we need to get some positive press. We need to rebrand ourselves. We need to save ourselves. And the best way we can do that moving forward is to be positive and to show people all the wonderful charitable things that we're doing. That impact report showing the positive impact we have on the world, because every single time someone does something good, you always got to show and tell people what you do. That's usually a first sign those people don't do anything, is when they constantly have to throw it in your face, FYI. So now they're trying to have this positive impact and rebrand themselves on kindness and charity and making amends with his family, because let's not forget, even though Harry is a little bit dim-witted, in my opinion, he knows where his bread is buttered, and that's with his royal family connection and his title. because without his title, they are nothing. They're nothing. Because if they really wanted to leave the royal family, they could have left the titles out the door and been Harry and Meghan Mountbatten Windsor. And they could have just stopped talking about the royals and left it in 2020, but they didn't. They've been dragging them around ever since and using their titles for profit, which means they know they're not worth anything without their titles and royal connections. Hypocrite Harry. Is that you? You listening? You're a hypocrite, because the only way you've ever made money is either being born into the royal family, your inheritance, or slamming your family. Literally, you've not done anything on your own except for Better Up, but let's be real, you only got hired at Better Up because you're Prince Harry. So literally, you have done absolutely nothing in 38 years on your own accord. Everything has been tied to your family. And Meghan, well, we all know you were a C-level actress, and that's being kind. You married well, twice-ish, and that's it. You've gotten everything else from being the Duchess of Sussex. So again, the two of you have done nothing on your own. Everything you've done is because of who you are, who you're related to, and your royal titles. So Harry and Meghan, in my opinion, have that Sophie's choice. Backed into a corner, damned if we do and damned if we don't at this point, because either way, it's going to look bad on them. If they don't go, it's going to reflect their relationship is definitely severed, and that's not going to be good for them going forward trying to land those huge Hollywood deals. Remember, they hired that high-powered Hollywood person to broker these deals for them, but let's be honest here, I think they've gotten everything that they can get. So now they're going to have to depend on their talent and their name and their reputation, which we know is in the toilet now. And they're hanging out with people like Ellen DeGeneres, which is like, okay. You know what I'm saying? So they have this guy who's going to go out and get them, quote, deals, which I'm sorry, but good luck. And then if they don't go, it's going to look really bad for them not going. They're going to have to come up with some excuse that Meghan's pregnant, she had a miscarriage, they had another event. Like, it's the king's coronation. It's the biggest thing of the year. And he's the son of the king. So if he's not there, that's going to look bad. But then if they go to the coronation, it's also going to look bad to a certain Sussex squad that the hypocrites are there with the racist royal family. Yeah, which is it? Damned if you do and damned if you don't. But I think they're going to have to, buckle it up. And I think they're going to have to go to the coronation because they really can't afford to have any more strifes with the royal family. They need to work on a reconciliation publicly. They need to be seen with them publicly. And even though they may not be working behind the scenes privately, they need to publicly be seen there, in my opinion, for their PR. They need to act like, oh, we're good with the family. Everything's fine. They need to do a whole 360 turn about face and act like everything's fine here, folks. Nothing to see. See, we're with the king. Look at us in our photo. Although they probably won't get the photo op either. I think they're going to be like they were for the Platinum Jubilee, behind the candlestick, in the nosebleeds with the Tier 2 royals. They're going to have little Johnny sitting behind them. They're going to get the same kind of treatment that they've gotten the last couple of times they've gone to the UK. And who could blame the royal family? Because quite frankly, that's what they deserve. But I think Harry's going to go for sure. Now, whether Meghan goes, that's another story. Because you can see her body language when they went for the funeral. Meghan looked like a deer in the headlights. It was kind of like oh crap, I said a lot of bad things about these people and now I got to hang around them. Because remember, the Queen died very suddenly. No one expected her to die as fast as she did. So this was right when, before the book came out, before the docu-series. So now way more stuff has come out. So at the funeral, she looked awkward with Catherine and William. You could tell there was just very bad body language there. It was very awkward, the way that she stood apart from the family at the funeral. So now with the docu-series and the book, it's going to be even more awkward publicly because everyone's going to be staring at them. Meghan is a coward, and I think she's going to make Harry go by himself and face the music. But the other part of me is like, I don't think Harry will go without Meghan. But again, they made the huge announcement that they won't go without a public apology. But again, the royal family, in my opinion, is not going to give it. And he's not going to get an audience with the king. So now, what do? So it's going to be very interesting to see if they go, because I think they're at a point, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, but what is the lesser of the two evils, and what is going to help them in the future? Well, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you guys think about the story with Andrew and Kate's outfit at the BAFTAs. South Park, do you think the Sussexes are going to get their lawyers? Do you think it could become a brand new series for the makers of South Park? And do you think Harry and Meghan will actually attend the coronation? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys.